Good morning, everyone. This is Thursday, March 28th, 2019. Oh, and I guess I better turn on the lights. And we are reading from Buscaglia Born For Love. And it's a kind of a fun, interesting book because it's done in very short segments, and then you have an opportunity to contemplate on basically what it is that we're reading. So we will be taking little, maybe 1 minute or 30-second break after each little segment. For those who might come in, we might discuss briefly what it is that we've read or whatever. And we'll just take it from there. Okay, the first segment is fear of vulnerability. Some people are convinced they are emotionally safe only when they remain guarded, unexposed, and thick-skinned. They are cautious not to truly reveal themselves for fear that in being seen for who they are, they'll be exposed and ultimately left defenseless. Protected and unassailable, their relationships never go beyond a superficial level. At the same time, they lament the absence of deep intimacy necessary for love. When we defend, protect, and guard, we isolate ourselves into loneliness. We may escape. Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. Can you hear me?
I can now. I turned my sound on.
It sounds like a Sandy.
How are you?
I'm doing very, very well.
Good.
We started a new book.
Oh, dear. I got on the other day, but I'm in Texas and forgot I had my alarm set for 12. You were on at 11 here.
Okay.
I thought something was wrong. I asked Reverend Dave if you were okay. He said,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, this is the book that we're reading from. It's entitled Buscaglia. And I can't quite.
Love. Okay. Born for Love.
Born for Love, yeah. And it's interesting because this book is kind of done in segments where after each segment, you can actually take 30 seconds or so and contemplate what is being said. He's done it in a very unique style.
Okay.
And so I think that you and I both will enjoy this very much.
Okay.
So the first segment for today is fear of vulnerability. Some people are convinced they are emotionally safe only when they remain guarded, unexposed, and thick-skinned. They are cautious not to truly reveal themselves for fear that in being seen for who they are, they'll be exposed and ultimately left defenseless. Protected and unsoluble, their relationships never go beyond a superficial level. At the same time, they limit the absence of the deep intimacy necessary for love. When we defend, protect, and guard, we isolate ourselves into loneliness. We may escape several emotional trauma, but in so doing, we miss the ultimate joys of true intimacy. Only by allowing ourselves to be vulnerable do we stand a chance of succeeding in love. If in the end we are deceived, betrayed, or tricked, we can at least say that we have tried. And in a sense, we have succeeded if we do not allow the scars of experience to cause us to develop a thick, impenetrable skin. When we gain the insight to realize that vulnerability is the soul of love, we will surely heal and try again. And a quote by William Cooper, "The only true happiness, some squandering ourselves for a purpose." And so we compliment, or not compliment, take a moment to think about what we've heard.
Contemplate.
Contemplate. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you very much. That's one reason I like this particular segment, because it's done in segments where you can contemplate what they're saying in essence as to your own life and possibly other lives that you see around you that would appear to be in what we just read. It's really interesting.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that are very guarded. Most people have been hurt so bad, they were afraid to ever be really friendly with anybody because they, just don't trust anybody anymore. So
yeah. Well, and another thing I do like about reading some of these segments is, just for example, this particular one, over the years, I myself realized that I suppose in many ways I am extremely protective because of the kind of lifestyle that I've lived and I went through. And it's not easy sometimes to knock on your own door of skepticism, but then sometimes you need to.
Yeah, because you could never really have a close relationship with people if you put a hedge around yourself.
Yep.
And that's what most people do. A lot of people do.
Yeah, and I think
I turned off the video. You don't need me. I come down with a cold. All I'm doing is blowing my nose. You don't need to do that.
Well, that's no fun at all.
Yeah, it's something that people are afraid to trust. Trust others, basically.
Yeah, and I think probably so much has to do with, like, I believe in the paradigm being all the things that you were taught before you were old enough to even know what life was all about. And those paradigms sometimes include the fact that by the time you're 5 years old, you don't trust anybody because you've been hurt. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, well, we'll jump on to the next one. The next one is love is nourished by optimism. Those of us who began a relationship with the fear that it will fail or bring us pain darn phone. I'm going to start over. Those of us who begin a relationship with the fear that it will fail or bring us pain are likely to find ourselves prophets. There is no greater harbinger of failure than to invite it as a possibility. On the other hand, there is every reason to believe that our love will succeed and flourish, that our union with another will bring us even greater possibilities for joy and happiness. Why shouldn't our future be one of brightness, goodness, productivity, and growth? We must live in the hope that every decision we make, every action that we perform, will take us in the right direction, in the direction necessary for success in love. Even our mistakes can be a cause for optimism by offering us opportunities for new learning and greater awareness. Love doesn't insist upon perfection. Neither should we. Love thrives in a positive view of self, life, and our world. When we keep our focus upon constructive images that enrich relationships, we are less limited by our past and more encouraged by the present. Experience shows that we tend to actualize dreams if we truly want them to happen. Lovers learn not to just hope for the better, they strive to make it happen. And underneath there's a quote by Michael St. Pierre: an optimist may see a light where there is none, but why must the pessimist always run to blow it out? Contemplating again, giving a moment for everyone, including myself, to contemplate on what the gentleman has written here. Like I said, I think it's kind of a unique way that he wrote this book.
Well, if you're reading it in a group, it at least shows that people are paying attention.
Yeah. And if I didn't know better, I would suggest that the possibility, the way he's written this, it may have literally been written, like you just said, for a group.
Yeah.
Where they could, share and contemplate on the reading of what they read.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you have something to say?
No, I just said, yeah.
Oh. All right, well, we'll go ahead and jump on to the next one. And I'm leaving the pause in there because anyone else that comes to it will have an opportunity to, like we said, contemplate on what was read before going on to the next segment or the next, I don't know what to call these little blocks of interest.
Discussion.
Yeah, that's a good word. These little discussions on these little a brief summaries of what he's writing. Anyway, we'll move on to the next one. Well, before I move on to the next one, I might also say that it gives a person an opportunity to think and consider what has been read and think about it before moving on to the next segment. Because I think a lot of times when you're reading a book, in most books, like if it's a story, you have to read it, and keep the flow going. Where the way this is written, it's designed for the person to take a moment and think about it. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. The next one is called Love Knows What is Essential. Some people fear that when beauty fades, so does love. These individuals have little real knowledge of love and less respect for themselves. For in reality, it is the other way around. Beauty fades only when love is gone. Love makes us more comfortable with and accepting of each other's imperfections. Love isn't applaud when we stand in the bathroom in sagging underwear, loudly gargling with our hair pointing in all directions. Doesn't care that we acquired a new set of wrinkles on our face, that our skin is flabbier than it used to be, that we have developed a more substantial midriff. When we love, we see through such inconsequential things. We concentrate on internal beauty that is unaffected by time or age. It is not that love is blind. It is rather that love sees what is essential. There is a quote down below by Ralph Waldo Emerson. There is no beautifier of complexion or form or behavior like the wish to scatter joy and not pain around us. I like that particular segment because myself, I find that I like, for example, with Loretta, I'm always telling her that she's beautiful. And unfortunately, sometimes she looks in the mirror and she thinks that with all the wrinkles and the old age, and I'm getting older and I don't look as pretty as I did. And I really strongly suggest a lot of the times to her that her beauty is not on the outside, her beauty is on the inside. And that pertaining just to what we're talking about, love, I've often said, to myself anyway, one of the reasons I believe that God lets us go blind slowly as we get older is because as we go blind, we see the other person in the beauty that we knew them when we were younger.
Yeah,
because we can't see all those wrinkles.
Yeah. That's good.
Well, I hope you get over your cold.
Me too.
Because it don't sound good, that's for sure.
Oh, gosh. And I took something early this morning. I took that Theraflu. It hasn't helped any.
Oh, well, if you took the Theraflu, it'll help. It'll just take about an hour or so for it to kick in. When did you take it?
Well, probably about 9 here. Yeah, a couple of hours ago. It'll start to kick in soon.
Yeah. Sure would be fun if we could get old Reverend Dave to pop in.
Yeah, I talked to him this morning. He was wanting a number Uh, I'll have to tell you later about that. But he says he's still having trouble with his heart.
Oh, is he?
That's not good. Yeah.
No, that's not good at all. We'll have to pray for him.
Yeah. Terrible.
We need him. We need him around.
Yeah, we do.
He's very important to our chain.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll excuse me. We'll move on to the next segment, or the next segment, which is called Bringing Surprise to Love. Even the most ardent lovers tend to be placated and lured by love, comfortable without a ripple of discontent. We take our relationships for granted, and a great complacency descends. This can be a precarious time for love. Symptoms of a developing problem can include a dull acceptance of everything, the desire to remain safe by traveling only familiar paths, and an undefinable feeling that something is missing. The cure involves a willingness to step a little more boldly into paths that excite and astound us and renew. Nothing is so fatal as predictability. Dull routines have a way of insidiously creeping into our lives. Sunday morning breakfast after church at the same restaurant. Wednesdays with the in-laws. Fridays at the movies. This thread of habit is woven into our lives until we find ourselves bound, limited only to experience the same small slices of life over and over again. What is so desperately needed in such situations is a serendipitous act, a surprise dinner, an unexpected gift, a little craziness to shake up this deadly habitual existence. Love withers with predictability. Its very essence is surprise and amusement. To make love a prisoner of the mundane is to take away its passion and lose it forever. A quote by Catherine Ann Porter: miracles are instantaneous. They cannot be summoned, but they come of themselves, usually at the unlikely moment and to those who least expect them. Comment.
Makes you feel like we're all in a rut.
Yeah. Well, it's something that I do just because Loretta likes jewelry. She's always telling me, which I think is very cute, in that, I'm getting old and I need sparklies. And I always agree with her.
Uh-huh.
And so every now and then I'll find something that's really unusual. And again, usually not too expensive because I'm on Social Security and, I just don't have a lot
Yeah.
of money to spend.
Yeah.
But I'll just surprise her with a little gift, that she totally is not expecting. And I find it always has a tendency to brighten up the day. Uh, and sometimes when the day's not going so well, it even brightens it up better.
That's nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I've always believed that love, and I hate to say it this way, only because it doesn't sound politically correct, okay? But I do believe that in love is like a job. It takes work. And if
Yeah.
and if you don't treat it that way, then all these things that we're reading about have a tendency to come to pass, and they sneak in so slowly
Yeah.
that you're not even aware that they're taking over your life.
Yep. That's true. I'm sorry, I'm not great company today. I'm so sorry.
Oh, don't. No, you're fine company. I enjoy your company.
Oh gosh.
You know, there's no such thing as, well, it's kind of like going to the ball. And everybody is dressed up and looks so beautiful. And that's very nice on occasions, but unfortunately, that is not what life's all about. We get sick, we get cold, we get irritable. There's all kinds of things that go on in life that make it, how should we say, unbearable. But we work our way through it. You know.
Yeah, we do.
Anyway, we'll go ahead and move on to the next one. And the next one is called When Love is Postponed for Another Day. The idea of expressing love is treated by many like the book we have been meaning to read, or the phone call we intended to make, or the letter we plan to write. Our will is genuine. Our intentions are good. But there are always good reasons why we don't or do not accomplish it. Excuse me. Perhaps the time is not quite right. The mood is wrong. There are too many more important things to do. The plants are not in proper alignment. Any excuse will do. So our days filled with loss, opportunities, and postponements instead of a much needed love. Some things just shouldn't be put off. A child who comes running to us for a hug or lavish explanations of praise needs it now, not at our convenience. A
Mm.
friend who requires a shoulder to cry on can't wait for a more opportune time. A lover who needs reassurance shouldn't be put off for only another reason. Love is communicated or committed that assures we will be there when we are needed. The feeling that there might be more convenient time to love has caused many people a lifetime of regret. There can be no atonement for moments when our love was necessary and we left them unfulfilled. Quote at the bottom by PALI text. I'm not sure what that means, but we'll go with it. One who lets slip by the opportunity to serve another misses one of the richest experiences life has to offer. And again, a moment to contemplate.
Well, we're all a victim of that, aren't we? Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yes, that I totally 100% agree with. And unfortunately, like it says, we seem to always get slapped in the face with things that we think need to be done. And so we shove aside what really should be done to go do something that may not necessarily in the real world have to be done right this moment.
Mm.
And I guess we're all victims of that. One thing I like about this is that I think it gives us a sense of, I know that, but it's good to hear it because I really don't think about it that much. Anyway, now, and again, it's kind of hard to, he breaks it down in segments, and then it could be considered as a chapter because the page turned a different color and we are now in a different segment of, shall we say, definition of love. So I don't know what to call the next page, but it's a different color, and so we're moving into something different.
Oh.
Anyway, this purple page says love creates an us without destroying a me. Book hasn't been read for so long, there's dirt on the pages.
Oh, was it in your library?
No, it's been on my shelf, but God, let's see. This book was printed in, well, it says copyrighted in 1992, so it's what, about 30 years old? Now, the reason I got the book was because I had an opportunity to actually meet Leo at a convention and shook his hand and talked to him. And ironically, would you believe that I did not pay for this book? He gave me this book.
Oh.
But he was in such a hurry, he was going to sign it for me that he says, you know, if my plane wasn't leaving in 15 minutes, I would sign it for you, but I've got to get in line and get on the plane. And I said, no problem. I appreciate the book and I will read it. So this book in itself has a little bit of a story to it.
Yeah.
And he was shorter than I am, would you believe? When I first met him, I said, holy, my first thought was, oh my God, I'm meeting Hitler himself. You know, because Hitler was a little guy too, actually.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's a whole story all in itself. All right, the next segment that we will read is called A Healthy Condition for Unconditional Love. We are always hearing about unconditional love. It has become popular to assure lovers that we love them without conditions. But we soon find it difficult to meet the condition of loving unconditionally. In fact, there is at least one must-be condition to our loving someone, and that is that they continue to grow as an individual separately from us. If we feel, for an instance, that we are keeping someone from growth, we must immediately and carefully examine our love. We must not only respect the need for our lover's growth, we must encourage it, even at the risk of losing them. It seems ironic, but it is true, that only in continuing to grow separately is there any hope of individuals growing together. It is a fallacy that to maintain love, two people must merge completely into one, tending the hearth together makes a cozy picture until we run out of fuel, because neither partner ventures out occasionally to replenish it. When we do, we return to a hearth that burns brighter and provides more warmth for both of us. And then there's a quote below by Henry David Thoreau: "Things do not change, we do."
Mm.
Yeah. The first thought that popped in my mind was to contemplate sometimes things that you read are so profound that your mind says, I want to understand, and yet your heart says, I'm not sure I do. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like, for me, reading the Bible, there are things that are in there that are truly profound. And over the years, I have found that there are certain aspects, which I won't go into, but there's certain aspects that are so profound that you find in a lifetime, you end up reading the same thing over and over and over. And I would say maybe 50, 100 times. And then one day you sit down to relax and your mind's kind of blank and you have nothing in there except the blank. And you read the same thing, and then suddenly the light goes on and you say, oh my God.
Yeah, we were just talking about that at Bible study the other night. Something just pops out at you. You thought, I've read this 100 times. I never noticed that before.
Yeah. And then suddenly it makes sense. And you're thinking to yourself, why didn't I get that when I read it the first time?
Yeah.
Why did I have to read it 100 times before the light went on?
But I mean, everybody has said that. So definitely know that that's a common occurrence.
Yeah. I really think it's fascinating because it opens a whole book of what I have learned to believe here just recently, in that if you want to learn, it's an example that we're doing, build a business. Sometimes repetition is probably the most valuable asset that you might have, because you think you read something and you think, okay, I know how to do that. And then you go to do it and then you can't do it. And then you go back and listen to it again and I got it now. So you go back and you try to do it again. And next thing you know, What am I doing wrong? You feel stupid and ignorant. So you go back the third time, fourth time, then the fifth time. And then you say to yourself, well, am I ever going to figure this out? And then maybe it's the seventh time and you go back and then you go to do it and you do it and you say, that was too simple. Why in the hell didn't I see that the first time I read it?
Yeah. Well, sometimes the circumstances you're in will, change your perspective, and that's why you didn't see it the other time, because you're looking at it with a whole different idea or perspective.
Yeah.
And so that's definitely something that is very common.
Yeah. I enjoy this very much, doing this particular book the way we're doing it, because I think it's really cool. So anyway, we'll move on to the next one. The next one is called Love as Fulfillment. Though there can be no more fulfilling goal in life than to love and be loved, we seldom find these high on people's wish list. Money, fame, and possessions are generally more desired, because we wrongfully assume that if we succeed in these ways, love will flow from them. Nothing can be further from the truth. Sadly, our desires do not often coincide with what is best for us. The material enticements and temporary pleasures of this world are undeniably attractive. But we would be wise to seek more substantial promises of happiness and fulfillment. When we are fulfilled in love, we can begin to feel a real sense of security, peace, and contentment. One that does not fluctuate with the trends of the moment. A loving relationship gives us an inner wealth that outlives the greatest of external pleasures. Quote below Bob Conkin, people want riches, they need fulfillment. Well, all I can say is it's very true.
Yeah.
That particular one, I believe, says what we all in our hearts really know.
Yeah, yeah.
So now you're where? In Arizona?
I'm down in Texas.
Texas, that's what.
Yeah, near Houston. The weather's been beautiful the last couple of days.
Has it?
Yeah, Sunday night we were able to sit out. Oh, for quite a while. That's always such fun because, you can sit and talk and just, sit with a glass of wine.
There you go.
Enjoy the evening. It's really pleasant here.
Yeah, and be with family and be all warm and cuddly and cozy and all
Yeah.
that stuff.
And Rob was saying one of the pools in the subdivision is open, but I think it's a little too chilly for pool going. But who knows? Maybe by the weekend it'll be warm enough to get in the pool. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. One thing that I like here in Wells, even though we only have a population of a little over 1,000 people, we do have a swimming pool, and it's actually indoor. And
Oh,
a
that's
couple of
nice.
times in the middle of January, I went down to the pool, and the pool's heated, you know. Now, as
That's
long as you
nice.
don't go over by the glass, by the sidewall over there, 'cause if
Yeah,
you lean up to that glass, you're going to freeze you know what off,
yeah, yeah,
you know. But inside, it's warm, and the water's warm, it's heated, and so it's quite nice.
yeah. That's wonderful when you can swim. I had I go to Silver Sneakers, and I was really interested because they said they had water aerobics, but none of the places where I am, that are close to me,
Hmm.
have the water aerobics, and that's disappointing because I really would enjoy that.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but the Silver Sneaker program, that's a good program, so you get a little bit of exercise.
yeah. I'm not familiar with it, and I'm not even sure. I know that our pool, what is it? I think it's real early in the morning. It's early in the morning, 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. I,
Oh,
I guess they open at 7, but they have the senior aerobics,
yeah, that's
which is
good.
in the pool for an hour, and then they have another exercise class that's more like, say, between the 20 and 50 area,
Yeah, yeah.
and then the next one is kids aerobics.
Oh,
Then it's basically closed for about an hour. They do a little sweeping,
yeah.
cleaning, whatever, and then they from 12 noon on to whenever they close, and I'm not even sure what time they close. It's basically just free swimming, whatever. They do have their list, but I don't have it. I lost it or I threw it away by
Yeah.
accident. But yeah, I was a scuba diver, so I love swimming,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was going to get some more scuba diving equipment. My Georgie Porgy, I went down and priced it. I had a 2-tank system with a Calypso J regulator. The 2-tank system cost me, when I bought it, I think it was $75. Now you go to buy a 2-tank system, it's like $450.
Oh, good grief.
Yeah. I had a Calypso J regulator, which was considered one of the best, and I think I paid $90 for it. You go get a Calypso J regulator now, hell, they're almost over $500. So to scuba dive today is not cheap.
Yeah, expensive hobby. Yeah,
Yes.
you'd have to rent the equipment because for all the times you don't use it, it's sitting in a closet. At that price, it's ridiculous. Good grief. That's a lot of money.
Oh, yeah. And then years later, I ended up selling all of the stuff because I didn't want to drag it all over Hilltop Lake. The
Yeah.
only thing I sold that I missed was that I had an abalone knife that you strap to the side of your leg when you're diving.
Huh.
And that knife, when I bought it, was $45. I seen the same knife because it's got a blade on it. It's about 20 inches long, somewhere right in that neighborhood. Holy cow, $290 for a knife.
Mm-mm.
Just one knife.
Yeah, yeah,
But that's with the sheath and the whole thing you strap to your
yeah.
leg. And then of course nowadays that size of a knife is theoretically illegal. You shouldn't have one,
Oh, right, right.
because of the size.
Yeah.
So I guess with people that scuba dive have to get a license to carry the knife. But
Gosh.
nowadays you have to have a license to even go in the water with scuba diving equipment anymore.
Oh, heaven's sakes. Why is that?
Safety reasons. They
Huh.
want to make sure you know how to dive.
Mm-hmm.
I took the class, one of the first classes that ever came out, and just to give you an example, uh, they have a pool that's 15 feet deep, and all your equipment is laying on the bottom. And so you have to dive into the pool, dive down 15 feet, and put
Huh.
on all your equipment underwater, and then come up to the top. And you have to do it. I think you're allowed 3 minutes or something like that. Um, wasn't I had to do it? What was it? I had to do it 4 times before I finally passed. Not
Wow.
easy,
No.
but they do that because if you're underwater, I like to play with dolphins. I can tell you stories,
Oh, yeah.
you know, that would go on and on and on and on about playing with dolphins because dolphins, uh, they they're full of fun. They're totally, they're just full of fun. And they'll come up and they'll stick their nose right in your face and they'll look at you and they'll swim away and they'll come back and look at you. But sometimes they'll take their fin and they'll slap you to see if you, well, they'll slap your mask right off your face. So you better know what to do to get that mask back on your face so you don't lose any air, you know, because it could be dangerous, but then it's also fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I think we got about enough time to go through one more here,
Okay.
and then we'll finish up. The next segment is called The Natural Flow of Love. My mother, on her deathbed, chastised me for crying. What are you holding on to? She asked. At that moment, I was too shocked and saddened to allow the wisdom of her words to settle in my mind. Later, though, I came to understand that she was telling me to get on with life. Her time had passed while most of mine still lay ahead. I've let go of many things since then, and it has made all the difference. I recently moved from a home in which I had lived for over 40 years. Memories of joy, pain, beauty, dreams, people, and adventures filled every closet and every drawer of every room. I thought I would never be able to abandon this home to strangers. But recalling Mama's question, I simply closed the door and left. It was so simple. I realized that the memories and the dreams I had valued were not hanging in the closets or hiding in the drawers. They were in me, and I would be taking them wherever I went. It's very human to cling to what we have, but in doing so, we destroy the natural ebb and flow of life. There is a natural movement to loving. As well, it does not begin and end any more than it remains fixed at one point in our lives. It is continuously and ever expanding, finding abundant expression in new experiences while living forever in warm memories. The quote at the bottom, Charles F. Kittering, my interest is in the future because I'm going to spend the rest of my life there. Very, very good. I'm not anticipating moving soon, but I'll keep that in mind. because I do face one very real truth and reality. When the old business grows and flourishes and I'm making $100,000 a month on low-income housing, I think I'll have to move. I won't have no choice.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's okay.
And that's okay, yeah. Like anything else in life, I won't like it, but I'll do it.
Well, with that income, you can have somebody else do all your packing. It'll be a lot easier. You can afford to pay somebody to do it for you.
Oh, yeah. But if I follow my old ways of survival, so to speak, I would probably be there watching them pack every
Oh, yeah. Watching
single item. Yeah. It would be very difficult to walk away and say, okay, you guys do it, and I'm not going to worry. I would have to.
Yeah, when Hitachi headhunted my son Rob, Doug's older brother, to Atlanta and moved the whole family. And they came in like a horde of locusts, packed us all up. Oh, it was months before I could find stuff. I mean, they were careful, nothing broke, but it was just they packed the darndest things with each other. You know, you just there's no rhyme or reason. You know.
Yeah.
That was quite an adventure. So I do know that. I know that, you know, you don't pack it yourself, you're not going to be able to find stuff from stuff.
Oh, yeah. And every time I've moved, what I found that's very true, most people, I don't know if they'll admit to it, but it's very true. When you unload everything into your new place, most of the time it's 6 months to a year sometimes before you get everything unpacked.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it seems like forever to get adjusted, so to speak, to your new place.
Yeah, we moved into the house in Indian Trail. Oh, gosh, it's got to be 9 years ago. And I'm still looking for stuff that I think Doug probably put in the shed and just never got unearthed. But there are boxes of stuff that I have never seen since we moved. So I am sure that, you know, things just get lost. You know, they wind up under the pile, and I guess when we move the next time, I'll find them again. So.
Yeah, I was just thinking, if you ever go out to the shed and open a box, holy cow, do like I did one time. It was 3 years later, and I found this box. And I said, where the hell did this box come from? I opened the box up, and I said, holy cow, I thought I threw that away.
Yep. Oh, that's good.
Well, I think it's been a very interesting and...
Yeah. Are you recording?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Oh, gotta record. Come on. Yeah, so, you know, I'm looking at the old clockaroo, and we're going to move on, and we'll finish up and come back.
You want to stop the recording? I want to tell you about something tonight.
Oh, okay. All right, then I'll just real quickly say goodbye to everybody that might come in. And besides our beloved Sandy, who's been here, anybody else takes a look at the video, I'm glad you came in. I'm glad you took a look at it. And I hope you come back and take a look more of what we're putting out. Other than that, I'm just going to say, have a good day and love you and God bless you. And we'll see you later. Bye-bye.